So a couple of days back, I did one interesting setup using my very old netbook. So yes, I basically have one netbook, a 10-year-old netbook. It is ASUS triple PC something netbook, which I bought 10 years ago, and I was not really using it for the past couple of years. So I thought, let us do something interesting with it. So what I did, I basically used that netbook to create some kind of a NAS server. So again, it is not really a proper full-fledged NAS server. It is basically one hard disk, one external hard disk that I attached to my netbook, and my netbook is basically running on Linux. I use Fedora. I might switch to Arch Linux maybe. I am not sure, but I think I'm fine with Fedora. It works fine, and I'm running Fedora on that netbook without any UI. So it is running, I mean, the run level is 3. So what I did, I simply used that netbook and I configured Samba. So in case you don't know, Samba is basically a way to create a storage that you can share over network. So I basically wrote the instructions, so you don't have to worry about how to do it. It is very simple. There are plenty of examples online, but I think it makes sense if you follow a proper tutorial by copying and pasting the commands. So you need to do a few things. Number one, you have to first make sure that you can SSH, you can do remote login using SSH to the server. So just enable the SSH service and configure the host name. If you have to, then simply install Samba. Now to install Samba, you can use, if you're on Fedora, you can use DNF install Samba, and then you have to basically do few configurations, like maybe you have to change few things in your firewall. I am using Fedora, and in Fedora you have something called as SC Linux, which I disabled because I don't really care too much about it, because it is on my local network and I don't really worry too much about the permissions. So I just disabled it. It is much simpler. Then you can configure your Samba, your SMB service to start on boot, which I did. And then I used one storage that I basically configured in my configuration. Now, if I show you my, let me show you my just a second. So this is my, if you can see my console, this terminal. So I have one external hard disk, which is listed here when you type in lsblk. Now the drive is SDP1, and I basically mounted this particular drive at this location, srv public backup 1_2 TB. So it is basically a folder that you can create, and then you can simply use this location anywhere in your network. So on my Mac, I basically have all my files that I can actually access over the network. And not only that, I also, in case you don't know, I use MPD. So on my local machine, this is of course Mac, and on this Mac, I am basically giving the path, the network location of my netbook, where I have that external hard disk connected. So basically I have this storage which I can use wherever I want. I also have the option basically to access the files if I want by configuring this network location inside my Mac. So if you are using Mac, you can go to, or you can simply you can go to Finder, and if you type in command K, it will basically give you the option to configure and basically use one location that you can connect, and it will be listed here on the left hand side. And when you take a look at your Finder, you can access the files if you have to. So you can see here I have all the files which are of course coming from my external hard disk, which I connected and I made it available online, of course within my network. So this is something that I configured a couple of days back, and I had this set up for a long time, but I was using a Raspberry Pi, which I don't really want to use anymore. I will probably use it for some other project, but I will be using that particular netbook for this network storage. I think using Raspberry Pi is probably better because it is low power, but I don't think netbook consumes lot of power anyway. So this is something that I wanted to share very quickly. I'll give you the link where you can read the instructions. It is not very complicated. It is all about configuring Samba server. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video and you learned something new today. Thank you very much.